How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Salamander Wilds. And in this video, we are leaving the wilds and heading to the city. I'm off to go see the Natural History Museum of New York City. And in particular, I really want to check out the Amphibian exhibit. So I'll be making my way through the different exhibits. I'll share my time at the museum with all of you as we make our way to check out the Amphibian and Reptile room. And of course, see what they have on salamanders. So if you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like, share, comment down below, please subscribe, and join me for my trip to the Natural History Museum of New York City. Before heading into the museum, a really cool store caught my eye. You see, another interest of mine is fossils, minerals, and crystals. I've got quite the collection at home, and so naturally I had to stop in to see what was here. And it did not disappoint. This store was filled with some of the coolest specimens I've ever seen. From the meteorites to the fossils to the crystals, the store was absolutely incredible, and of course, I had to buy something. I couldn't leave empty-handed, and so I bought a meteorite of my own. But we couldn't stay there, of course, and so we made our way directly to the museum soon after. So we started our museum tour in the African animal exhibit. And needless to say, the museum was absolutely packed with a ton of people. And sure, of course, none of these animals are alive. It's not a zoo. But it was super interesting to be able to get a look at some animals that I wouldn't otherwise get to see. Like this sloth bear, for instance. And of course, elephants were included. Next up was the Asian Peoples exhibit, and we had made our way to the Japanese culture area. And I've always had a thing for Japanese culture, samurai, things like that. It's always been very intriguing to me. The art is very beautiful, complex, but there's also a very mysterious aspect to it and kind of creepy aspect even. Apparently I can't read. Soon after, we ended up in the Birds of the World exhibit. And of course, now that we're getting back into the nature and animal stuff, this was all that much more interesting. It's hard not to get lost in the wonder and intrigue and mystery of the different shapes, sizes, and colors of all the birds that we have. And naturally, of course, I apply that very mindset to salamanders. Okay, Hall of Human Origin, so you want coffee first? Yeah, let's go get coffee, then Hall of Human Origin.
I guess.
And so we did just that. We took a break, stopped for coffee in the adjacent cafe, and checked out this really awesome origami tree. Stopped for a photo, of course, too. But this tree was absolutely incredible. I have a hard time pulling off the easiest of origami animals, so obviously this was quite the project. Moving on from there, we ended up going to the Hall of Human Origins. And this exhibit was absolutely mesmerizing. We often think about ancient animal life, like dinosaurs or the woolly mammoth and things like that, but when you see the skeletons of human ancestors shown here, your mind can't help but go down a rabbit hole of questions upon questions upon questions. How did they truly all go extinct? And what did they really look like? Now, of course, there's a ton of great data and really good recreations, but also still a lot of theories, right? So you still can't help but wonder. Now it's on to the Hall of Meteorites. This is cool. See, look at this. This is what he had at the shop. It's olivine, I think the crystal is called. That is so cool. That's so cool. Is that a giant meteorite in the middle? We'll get to that. See, I love stuff like this.
Excuse me, sir, you're in the way.
Excuse me, you're always in the way. Now, after purchasing that meteorite earlier, it should probably go without saying that this was one of my favorite exhibits. And these olivine crystals are absolutely incredible to see. Hopefully one day I can get something kind of like this added to my collection. And these aren't cheap, so I'm sure they won't be as big if I do get one.
What are you, a vampire?
No, I can't talk. We're going into the Allison and Roberto Hall of Gems. Yep, full of strange people. Look at that. That's freaking crazy. That is nuts. And so next up was the gems, rocks, and minerals of the world. And if there was anything else that would make you marvel at the wonders and mysteries that we have on this planet, look no further than the specimens that were out on display in this exhibit. The world is truly a treasure trove of fascinating and incredible shapes, mesmerizing colors, of so many different types of materials and crystals, and it can only just leave you awestruck. From dazzling and sparkling gems to glow-in-the-dark fluorescent minerals, the Earth is really such an incredible place, and it really makes you wonder about how many other things we haven't even discovered yet. Oh, they got a hellbender. And, oh, different salamanders. Hold on.
I think they have a hellbender in the amphibian.
See, that's some cool stuff. Okay. Wow. So eastern red-spotted newt, Sicilian gray tree frog, look at that, toad, bullfrog, some other frogs. It's a cane toad. Got some, yeah, whoa, hold up. Fire salamander. Let's get close up. That's a rainforest salamander all the way on the right. You got a hellbender right there. That's so cool.
Is it the long-tailed one in the middle orange one?
I actually don't know if that's what that one is. Some cool stuff. Now this is one of my favorite areas. This is really cool. We finally arrived at the amphibian and reptile exhibit after traversing the museum, going through many other different exhibits. Now look at this salamander. Bell's salamander.
Crazy,
that's incredible. Yeah, it's a Mexican species.
That is so cool.
And then there's a mud puppy in there. Sicilians, right? Yeah. Gymnophiona. Sicilians are the only living amphibians that possess scales. They are hidden within the skin in a circular arrangement around the body. Yep.
Oh my god.
My favorite. Right, in water. Yeah, so you see, like, they can go from a larva to an F stage, or they can skip the F stage and stay aquatic and go to an adult. So that's what we have going on back at home, and that's influenced geographically depending on their environment. Let's see, red spotted newt. The salamander has two very different life histories within a single species. In inland areas and at higher elevations, eggs laid in spring produce larvae that metamorphose in late summer into red Fs that live on land for several years. 3 or 4 on average, yep. And then this is what we have closer to home, right? So those are what we see at higher elevations, and then at home, the land-dwelling F stage may be absent in the whole period of growth. And it was really incredible to see such a detailed display of this animal's complex life history in such a more simple manner that I think most people would understand. And sharing this experience really helps to drive home the story of the eastern newt even more. The amphibian exhibit really highlighted some very complex and even lesser known knowledge about not just salamanders but frogs too, even including detailed examples of egg and embryo development. And I thought this exhibit and these details in particular really helped to drive home the differences between amphibians and reptiles, especially since the characteristics of eggs are a key detail in differentiating reptiles and amphibians. And lastly, after taking our journey through the Natural History Museum, getting to see the reptile and amphibian room, we decided to top it all off with dinner and a trip through Chinatown. We found a great restaurant to finally stop and relax and recharge with a really fantastic dinner, with different kinds of dumplings, and then topping it all off with a really fantastic wonton soup. The entire trip was absolutely memorable. And so with that, our trip to the city and the Natural History Museum comes to a close. And this really was such a fun trip, I would absolutely go again. But the city is still a little too busy and chaotic for me. I'm still more at home in the forest where the salamanders live. But even in the city, it seems that the Salamander Wilds are really never too far away. And with that, I will end the video here. And if you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like, share, comment down below. Please subscribe. Your support is always very much appreciated. And while I didn't get to see some dinosaurs this time around, stay curious, and maybe during the next trip to the museum, we'll check out not only some dinosaurs, but also the ancient amphibian life in the prehistoric Salamander Wilds.